Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 272 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Long ago, the world was full of wonder. It was adventurous. It was exciting. And most of all, there was magic. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we did with the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hopefully we sound okay.
Yeah.
We had some technical difficulties and I had to call an audible, and hopefully
The audible works.
the audible works.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get sacked and we're at the touchdown going for the 2-point conversion.
Yes.
So some nice sports references for you, since I know at least I'm kind of missing. I'm missing sports. I know not all of us are.
I kind of am too.
That missing March Madness just was like that was a shot to the heart.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep, we are. Yep.
Thank goodness.
Along with everything else, it's that we're missing.
Internet and technology, we can overcome.
Mm-hmm.
As the Queen was trying to tell people in her address the other day, stiff up her lip, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we shall meet again. I'm like, yes, we will, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm not even one of your subjects. But anyway,
I'll take the advice regardless.
yes,
Exactly.
All fails make a cup of tea.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's first do the news. First up, a piece of 10 o'clock news. So thankfully, not pandemic related.
Yeah.
No. This one is.
She was 94.
Yes.
So,
Good long life.
yeah, but Honor Blackman, which I don't even think I knew her actual name.
I don't think I did either.
Probably a majority of the people know her best as her James Bond girl name, Pussy Galore.
Yep.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming. I thought I'd wake up dead.
Tranquilizer gun. Knockout shot.
I see. Well, I'm delighted to be here. And, by the way, where is here?
35,000 feet, flying southwest over Newfoundland.
Oh, that explains the humming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which she passed away today at age 94. She, even before I really so the first Bond movie I ever watched from beginning to end, because I always watched like bits and pieces of them because my dad is crazy about channel surfing, was Goldfinger, and I just adored Pussy Galore. She was smart. She was funny. She was tough. She was just all those really cool things that Bond girls you think of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, you're kind of awesome. I like you. And so ever since then, and now I've watched all the Bond movies, because Jared and I went through a Bond rewatch last year. It was last year we did that.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And I'm like we would go through it. We were like ranking different aspects of the Bond franchise, like what our favorite Bond, what the favorite movie was, the theme song, the Bond girls. I think those were the three categories, and she was among the first, at least top 10. I can't remember what our ranking was, but I was like, no, Pussy Galore, she's got to be up there at the top because she's one of my favorites. And so yeah, I heard this news. I'm like, yeah, she she was 94, but still, it's like, that makes me sad. And apparently, she was also in she was in some classic Doctor Who, Terror of the Vervoids, at one point. So there's a Who connection there as well.
Yep. Trial of a Time Lord.
Yes,
series, one of the episodes.
Yep, first appearance of Mel. And although not, there's some wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff there, but that's neither here nor there. But but she was also in the 1960s British TV series The Avengers, not to be confused with MCU Avengers.
Yeah.
So she's survived by her children Barnaby and Lottie, and grandchildren Daisy, Oscar, Olive, and Toby. So they were there when she was around her family when she passed. So she was in a lot of other things, but yeah, so definitely gonna miss her, but thankful for her her roles and her memorable roles as well. So.
Moving on to some with everything essentially being closed, it's kind of hard to think about conventions, but in some quote unquote convention news, Tony over at Geeking in Indiana has kind of taken what we have done with our list of local, artists and stuff, and gone and turned it up to 11, and has created what he's called Geeking at Home Con. So if you go to his website, you will see his introduction and the explanation, and he actually has the pages broken up by the way you would see like a map at a convention. So there's a vendor hall, there's an artist alley, there's an author's alley. So he's even got a main stage. So if anybody's got anything where they're doing like a live stream that he can put up there, he can do that. So just send him an email or message. You can add that. So while he is trying to keep it local for Indiana, he's not going to be like too hard-nosed with that blanket label. So if you want to join in, send him your information. There's a registration page you could go to and fill out the information, and he will hopefully get it up on the site. So you get kind of the fun of going to a con and browsing, I guess. You just have to do it via the internet. So so yeah, that's kind of fun. So, and it's free. Yeah. How many conventions can you go to that are completely free? Not many.
Yes. That is very true.
So even though we can't gather together and enjoy our geeky stuff, we can still do it online, and so there are ways around that.
Yep. To circumnavigate.
Yep. And then PopCon, which as of we're recording this is still planning on happening as scheduled in July. But Easter is coming up, so they have announced a Easter egg contest, decorating contest. So what they want you to do is, and this is open to anybody, is, when you got your Easter eggs, decorate them however you wish. Have your kids do it, have your dog and cat help, whatever. But decorate your eggs however you want. Take pictures of said eggs and then post them on your choice of social media. So you don't have to post them on all of them. You can just take your pick. So if your choice is Instagram or Twitter, they want you to use the hashtag PopConEggs. And if you use Facebook, they want you to just have the tag PopCon Facebook profile on the photo. So all your photos must be up and tagged by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 11th, 2020. And then they're going to have a judge pick the winners, and the winner's going to receive a family 4-pack of passes to this year's convention.
Oh, nice.
Awesome prize.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So get to decorating. So get to boiling, hard boiling those eggs.
Yep.
And then get to decorating.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we actually kind of touched on this a little bit last week with Shalane's feedback, and we said wait and see, and you'll start getting announcements from the studios on when stuff is going to be released. And Disney has done that. So get out your calendar and your pencil, because we're going to throw a little bit at you here. Obviously with theaters being closed, as we mentioned, movie releases have been, slam the brakes. But now we have new, of course, tentative release dates for Disney and specifically the MCU going forward. Obviously, this is subject to change as circumstances change, but as for right now, so when you mark those calendars, do it in pencil. Just in case. So for right now, Mulan is now set to open July 24th. And then this does include some of the Fox releases because of the Fox acquisition. So the Fox movie Free Guy, which has Taika Waititi and Ryan Reynolds, is now opening December 11th. And the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt has actually been moved to July 30th, 2021. So they've gone ahead and just pushed it out a year. The yet-to-be-titled Indiana Jones movie is now moved to July 29th, 2022. It was supposed to be out 2021, but they were supposed to have started production soon. Obviously, productions are not happening, so. The New Mutants, which at this point, I don't even know why they're going to bother at this point, does not have a new release date again.
At some point, they may just have to put that up on streaming or something.
I think so.
How many times has it been delayed by now?
At least two, maybe three that I can remember.
I want to say 3, but I would have to double check to make sure. But I feel like 3 is the correct answer here.
Yeah. It's supposed to come out even before all this insaneness happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be. I mean, it was supposed to be out. Fox was supposed to release it before Disney bought them out, and so that kind of that threw a monkey wrench in there. But yeah. So that one's had some fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like they were supposed to release it before the acquisition. It didn't test well, so they had to go and do some pickups and some changes, and then the Fox acquisition happened, I think, so that pushed it out. Yeah, at this point, I would probably just send this to streaming and call it a day.
To paraphrase a certain metaphor, strike one, strike two, strike three, you're streaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And as far as the MCU is concerned, all right. Okay. Black Widow.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, really. Black Widow is now opening November 6th, which was the date originally held by the Eternals. The Eternals is now moving to February 12th, 2021, which was the spot being held for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
Now Shang-Chi is moved to May 7th, 2021, which now moves Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness to November 5th, 2021. Thor Love and Thunder is now going to open February 28th, 2022. Black Panther 2 his date is May 8th, 2022, which is still the same, but Captain Marvel 2 is now opening 2 weeks early on July 8th, 2022.
Okay.
Everybody got that?
Down to bumped up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Because they have to release the Marvel stuff in a certain way for the continuity. So
Yeah.
You can't go Doctor
And we-
Who with Lee Wobbly Timey Wimey on this.
right.
It's
So
not gonna work.
and at this point we've not heard, but this will probably affect the MCU Disney Plus programs.
Yeah, I
When
was
they get
Right.
released
What
too,
other
because spoilers, because stuff may potentially cross over. So
Yeah.
especially WandaVision, because WandaVision had been moved forward to help set up for Doctor Strange, but now that Doctor Strange has been pushed out, WandaVision is probably going to be moved out again. So
Now, is there any word that this is going to affect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
As
Doesn't
last
it-
I heard, the one guy that's like head of like visual effects that I follow on Twitter, last I saw from him is they were done and working on the special effects, and I don't think they were done yet before this started, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly. So, but considering we did not have a airing date for that,
Right.
who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the I guess this is a good side effect of scheduling yourself so far out. You have the dates already reserved, so if you have to do a little bit of moving back, then you can just go, okay, everybody, just take a step back or two or three or however many they need to do, and we'll go from there. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm glad that they are still gonna, put them in theaters. I mean, we were talking about this in one of our chats, and the Vortex guys were in there, and Sean and Glenn are big movie guys, and they were like, oh, we don't want to lose that theater experience and everything. And I kind of chimed in and said, and one other thing you have to consider is once this pandemic is over and we can leave our homes, because this is going to end.
Yes.
We're not going to be stuck here forever. People are going to want to go to the movies. They're going to want to go out to eat. They're going to want to go on trips. They're going to want to do all those things that a lot of the stuff's just been postponed. So, just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it won't happen later. And we're going to want to go see all these movies that we were looking forward to anyway.
Yep.
So, so don't just dump them off on streaming unless you have a really good reason for it. Like Artemis Fowl looked like it was going to be a bomb anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had strong opinions about that trailer.
I saw the trailer. I'm like, I don't know. I remember reading the first two books. It's like, I don't really remember it happening that way.
Yeah.
Nope, not at all.
That
Not
trailer
at all.
is wrong. You got that wrong. You got that wrong. It's like you have your character. Yeah, the characters' names are right, and they look like the characters.
For the most part.
But for the most part. But the story, I'm like, that ain't Artemis Fowl. That is not the character. Go back and fix it.
Yeah. It's like, which book series did you accidentally jump into?
I know. I'm like, this looks like
was somebody carrying the series the book series unbound and like tripped and dropped all the pages and thought they got them back in the right order?
That's probably
something like that. Or they thought, oh, we're doing one of those Disney Channel original movies where we really don't have to care about being faithful to the source material. It's like, no, Artemis Fowl is not a scared little kid who, just stumbled into magic. No. He's a snarky, suave criminal mastermind who happens to be 12 and devious. Yes.
Yes.
He is. So, yes. So, yeah. So Artemis Fowl is getting put on Disney Plus, which I'm not going to shed a tear over.
Same. So I've been reading the book since the books came out. So I was the right age, 11, and they've been talking about making it into movies since I remember all years when I was in high school, freshman year, and I got excited, but nothing happened, and every other few years something happened, and nope, and now something finally did happen, and I'm like, no,
and it's yeah. So anyway, I mean, not that this is a dig about movies getting put on Disney Plus, as we're going to discuss here in a little while, in a few minutes, but it's just that I don't know. Artemis Fowl just looks. Let me put it this way: I'm looking forward to the YouTubers being able to rip it apart.
Yeah, I'm ooh, I can't wait for Honest Trailers.
Yeah. Or Nostalgia Critic, or one of those other. I don't know if Nostalgia Critic would do it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this is because go back and watch his Percy Jackson review, and it's kind of the same sort of thing. There's Anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to do the same route they did with a series of Unfortunate Events. So, the movie was not really that great, and it made it into a Netflix series, which was actually pretty successful.
Yeah, the Netflix series worked out really well, and there's so many Artemis Fowl books that you could do a Netflix series, or pick your streaming.
Well, I'm actually technically owned by Disney, I think. I think it's Hyperion.
Hyperion is a Disney-owned publisher, so it's like, well, guys, if you really wanted to do Artemis Fowl as why didn't you do a TV series streaming on Disney Plus, and it would have worked as long as you got the characters right. But anyway, so but that's that. So there's all of our new movie schedules. So hopefully by summertime we'll be at least we'll be able to come out of our caves. And if not, I think people will just kind of not really care about movies anyway at that point. Oh, but we will see.
Yeah,
we'll see how things go.
Yep.
I do like that they are saying, hey, we're gonna reschedule this anyway, because darn it, we can't stay home forever.
Yeah.
Even though we should right now.
Just
for right now.
Yep.
If you haven't seen that, I shared it on our Facebook page. If you've not seen it yet, go watch Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Read your bedtime story.
At home.
Yeah.
Just remember, it's Samuel Jackson, therefore it's not safe for work language.
And it's not a bedtime story for little kids.
Yeah.
Stay the at home. The Rona is spreading. The is no joke. It's no time to work or roam. The way you can fight it is simple, my friends. Just stay the at home. Now, technically, I'm not a doctor, but my listen when I read a poem. So here I am, Sam Jackson, imploring you, keep your ass at home.
Yeah.
Now, if you do want something for little kids, you can just segue there.
Yes.
In the spirit of reading,
Mhm.
if you need some dulcet tones to help ease your stress levels, right now LeVar Burton on Twitter is doing a Twitter live stream 3 days a week reading various short stories. So on Mondays at noon Eastern Standard Time, he's reading for children. On Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he's reading something for the young adults. And on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he is doing reading something for the adults.
And the cool thing is Neil Gaiman gave him blanket permission to use whatever he wanted in his library. I'm like, thank you, Neil.
There were several, because LeVar's doing this. There was, I think, someone like a teacher tweeted out.
And then J.K. Rowling gave blanket permission to use all the Harry Potter.
In fact, I'll spotlight this real quick. If your local library has Overdrive as one of their lending ebook vendors. Okay, let me start that over. If your local library uses Overdrive to lend out ebooks, you can read the entire Harry Potter series for free.
Mm-hmm.
And
the first book is in the Audible
and it's,
free thing
and
that we
it's
talked
read
about.
by Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
From the UK, not the
Jim Dale.
Jim Dale.
Which I'm gonna admit, I like Stephen Fry's better than I like Jim Dale. No offense.
In fact, I'm pulling up our Overdrive thing. Yeah, they have Harry Potter at Home. Okay, hold on a second. I'm pulling it up. Okay, so you can get the first audiobook or the first ebook. Okay, I guess there is still a wait list for the rest of the books. But you can get the first one from your library, and there's no wait. It's unlimited. Whatever, always available is what it says. Yeah. So there's a cool thing, and they're doing some other Harry Potter related stuff. I think through Pottermore, but I don't know if it's been all been announced, but it's been promised. So anyway, so LeVar Burton is reading Neil Gaiman's stuff, which good on Neil for rising to the occasion. I'm hoping other authors will follow suit because it's just
they likely will.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
It's just like I said, I saw on Twitter, I think it was like a school teacher that wanted to use a specific author's books for some sort of school project, but was concerned about the copyright, and I tweeted the author, and the author responded back, and it was like, yeah, no, you don't need to go through all that legal red tape. It's like, use whatever you want.
Yeah, and there are several other publishers who've just, like the publishing company who put things on their website saying if you're a teacher, if you're a librarian, if something in that vein, and you want to record yourself reading one of our books to your students and post it somewhere, go for it.
Yep.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, it's, I mean, and this is the thing. I saw someone whining about somebody going like talking about a musician, because several musicians have also done similar things, like they have little concerts that they stream from Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and someone was like, we don't care about these celebrities that are doing these things right now because we need to be focused on finding a cure, keeping people safe, I'm like, yes, that is important. The other thing that is important is your morale and your mental state, your mental health. Like, I don't know.
Keeping people safe that way by them doing this for you.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
and they're
what were they expecting? Like us, like,
we're just gonna sit at home, stare at the wall, and be like, well, at least I'm home staring at the wall and not getting infected by the plague. Well,
exactly.
Yes, but it's I don't know. There's been I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too far, but there's been times I've just been sitting here thinking, like, what is the mental toll the mental cost that's gonna come from all of this when we finally, when all is said and done? Like, how is everyone how is everyone coping? And, I kind of worry about myself. I worry about some of my family. I worry about, not just catching this, but also, not just the uncertainty is just it's scary. And, I appreciate, artists, authors, musicians, whoever it is, just trying to reach out and be like, here, this is something that's going to help. Yeah, it's not a cure or a vaccine or a treatment for the sickness, but this is going to help us get your mind off it for a little while, have something else to think about, and something that hopefully is enjoyable. And, a couple of concerts, like I watched on Brad Paisley's Facebook feed a couple of weeks ago, and he did his little concert at home. That was fun. Like he has he had a thing like you could request songs and I mean, you didn't get to all of them obviously, but people were reading out comments. Authors have done live streaming events like
Monday nights. Garth Brooks and his wife Trisha do their thing, and I mean that's been fun.
Yes.
Just to hear
Dolly Parton did a live book read for little kids.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it might be a little frivolous or whatever right now, but you know what? You need something like that. So
not all of us can be scientists and doctors. So
exactly.
I mean,
we need an escape from the news sometimes. Yes, it's
mental health is just as important as our physical health.
Exactly, Brittany. You'd hit it on the head. And I'm like, it's nice to. I mean, yeah, we all know everybody's going through this. But at the same time, when you're just by yourself in your house, it kind of feels like you're the only one that's dealing with this.
Yeah.
But then you kind of have this little virtual gathering of people that all have a similar interest in whatever event is going on. Then you kind of feel like, I'm not the only one going through this, and that helps.
And I've been enjoying the tweet-alongs that Emily Cook's been doing for Doctor Who, and everybody she's
and
been
the Radio
able to
Times jumped in with a Torchwood one the other last week.
His Bang Bang is coming up. And the weekend is I believe with Neil Gaiman they're going to be doing The Doctor's Wife.
Yep.
Yes, they got Neil Gaiman to come on, and the director is it Richard Clark. That's his name. The directed that episode. I mean, I haven't been able to jump in on all of them because that's when they have them is right when it's lunchtime and nap time for the littles. But it's fun to go back through the tweets.
Yes.
So anyway, so I know that was just that one person was not representative of everybody, But it just I saw that and it got to me, and I'm like, you know what? Go be negative somewhere else. Just shoot.
Exactly.
There's enough negativity. Don't need to bring in more.
Right. But anyway, so yay for everybody who's at least trying.
Yeah. But people are playing to their strengths, It's like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but it's like, I've got a platform, then, I'm going to use it to the best of my ability.
Yes.
So, I mean, who doesn't want LeVar Burton reading to them?
Exactly.
That's why his podcast is so good.
Yes. Even if whether you know him best from reading Rainbow or from Star Trek or just from being LeVar Burton, I guess. That works too. That works too, and it's people are doing their best, and so and go out and enjoy these things. Get your mind off of it. Turn off the news. Turn off the social media for a while because let me tell you, it's all the same when it gets down to it. They're all talking about the same crap.
Like I said earlier, all that's in the news is the virus and weather. That's
pretty much, yeah. It's like, okay, can I go outside and take a walk tomorrow? Is it going to be nice enough for me to do that? But anyway. So LeVar Burton, he's reading on Twitter. Go check it out.
that is really it for the news. The book club poll is up, though. So you can go vote for May's book. As weird as that is to be talking about May.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of had to skip over March.
Yeah.
And we're skipping over April too.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, we don't have any feedback, so we will move on to this week's main topic that we hinted at not so subtly last week, which is the latest Pixar movie, Onward.
In times of old, the world was full of wonder and magic. But times change.
I'm a mighty warrior!
Morning, Mom!
Hey, birthday boy!
By the laws of yore, I must dub thee a man today. Kneel before me.
That's okay.
I have a gift from your dad. He just said to give you this when you were both over 16.
No way! It's a wizard staff. Dad was a wizard!
What? Your dad was an accountant.
This spell brings him back. For one whole day, Dad will be back.
What? Back like back to life? That's not possible.
It is with this.
I'm gonna meet Dad.
Whoa, feet!
It's getting harder to hold!
Ah, he's just legs. I definitely remember Dad having a top part.
Oh, what did I do? Hi.
We only have 24 hours to bring the rest of him back.
Until then, ta-da!
Oh, that's great. Dad, you look just like I remember.
You got a problem, Shades?
If it's adventure you seek, you've come to the right tavern.
Oh, no. We might be out of gas.
But it says we have a full tank.
No, that doesn't work. Growth spell. We grow the can, and then the gas inside will grow with it. Elbows up.
I'm trying to focus here.
Focus.
It worked! The can is huge! And the van is huge! And you're... Oh no.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was
now
released
available on Disney Plus.
Yes. Well, it was released in theaters right before the pandemic hit and right before all the theaters started closing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I knew it would be a while before I got to see it when it was, going to be, originally released in theaters. I wanted to go see it in theaters. I didn't get to see it in theaters. And I was kind of bummed when all the theaters closed. But then they announced that they were going to put it on streaming and, release it digitally and then put it on streaming on Disney Plus. So I was like, it's sad that it didn't get its full theatrical run. I am glad that they allowed us to see it, because when I first saw the trailer, I mean, if you haven't been paying attention the last couple of years, Disney / Pixar / a lot of animation companies have been putting out a lot of sequels and remakes, and it was just kind of like, where's all the original content? And then the trailer for Onward hit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I need to see it.
And then when they said it was Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, I'm just like,
that too.
Up.
Yeah.
Exactly. And short answer, it did not disappoint at all.
It's cute.
Yeah.
I watched it last night,
Mm-hmm.
and initial, I want to watch it again if for anything else to look for all the little Easter eggs, because Pixar always has like their group of Easter eggs that you can find in everything. But now that this is like, since this is their first original like non-sequel movie, I think since Coco.
Yeah,
the last,
I think
like,
you're right.
original.
Yep.
Yeah.
And John Ratzenberger still showed up as a voice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But they, now that Disney, Disney and Pixar, well, Disney has, really expanded. There's a lot of other Easter eggs besides looking for like the Pizza Planet truck and the Pixar ball and A113 and, all of those are still in there, and we'll talk about those, but there is a crap ton of other Disney and Disney adjacent Easter eggs that will just be fun for rewatchability to try to catch them, especially because some of them are not on screen for very long.
Yeah, it's very blink and you'll miss it, which is, typical of the Easter eggs.
Easter eggs,
and things
yeah.
and stuff.
But, Easter eggs aside, I had my, preconceived notions of how I thought the plot was going to go. And some of it is a bit tropey, which I kind of have a complaint with, but we can get into that. But there were a few times where they subverted my expectations, where I really thought that they were going to go a very tropey kind of, expect, like, we can see where this is going, and then they're like, oh no, it's going to go this way instead. And I was genuinely surprised, and it's acted really well. The cast is great. The animation is great. It's a fun looking movie. So is it in the top tier of Pixar for me? No, but I enjoyed it.
I think this was my thought, because after I finished watching it, I was like, okay, it's not Up, it's not Coco, it's not Inside Out. However, I feel like Pixar has kind of like 2, maybe 3 tiers, I don't know. But the top tier are those, amazing ones that everybody loves. Then there's the next tier, which is they're the fun ones. This one I think is the top of the second tier, because there's still that heart behind it. It's still a good story, and it's whether it still feels it's for being a Pixar B-roll movie. It's a dang good one, and it's a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it. Of course, it helps that that their version of Dungeons and Dragons is is a historical a historical role-playing game. That part of course Jared hasn't got to see it all the way through, but that part cracked him up so much, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect.
I'm not gonna
Jared, don't listen to this until after you've seen it, because we will get into spoilers.
Yeah, I won't let him listen to this one before. But yeah, I'm like, you need to sit down and you need to watch it. Although I think he saw the ending and then saw a few other parts. I'm like, come sit down and watch. He's like, I'll do it later. I'm like, no. But like Alex and I have watched it like 3 times, and it's so cute.
Yeah, there's, like I say, talking about there's the visual Easter eggs, but then the plot itself, like if you are into D&D, Magic the Gathering, like fantasy,
any of those
Lord of the Rings type, type
any of those tabletop fantasy RPGs, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, is going to tickle that bone right there. So they're recognized. Obviously they got to put their twist on it to fit the universe, but there are a lot of things that I recognize that I've seen in display or in the game catalog for like Gen Con. I'm like, oh, there's that thing. So
yeah, so basically the story is, the setting is, it's a fantasy world, but but not everybody has magic, so somebody invented modern technology, and over time modern technology meets the fantasy world. So you have elves, you have trolls, you have a pet dragon who acts like their dog.
Yeah. Cute little thing.
Very cute little thing. And, and everything, like the fast food restaurants, the gas stations, the scenery, it all has the medieval fantasy castles, swords and sorcery sort of thing. But it's like the Manticore's tavern, the tavern that you go to start your quest. It's basically a family diner restaurant.
It's a Chuck E. Cheese.
A Chuck E. Cheese. Like they first walk in and there's a kid having a birthday party, which coincidentally it's also Ian's birthday, which is how the whole thing kind of gets kicked off, more or less. And the Manticore, this great Manticore who gave heroes their quests. Now she owns the tavern, and she doesn't give dangerous quests anymore because she doesn't want to get sued.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of humor like that, and I mean, part of it is like, yeah, maybe we've seen this before, but the way they did it is unique, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it. I mean, maybe it is a little reminiscent of Shrek a little bit,
yeah,
but it's also different enough that it's its own thing.
Yeah, because it's like, you've got these two brothers, Ian and Barley. Ian's younger, voiced by Tom Holland. Barley, voiced by Chris Pratt, which, animators, in this case, I think that Pixar took the voice actors and put them into the animation because they kind of look like Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
They did, yeah.
They kind of do. I mean, definitely their facial expressions. And I think they did the same with Laurel, who's Ian and Barley's mom, and the Manticore, Corey, who's so Laurel is voiced by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Corey is voiced by Octavia Spencer.
Yeah.
And so while Ian and Barley are going off on their adventure, you also have Laurel and Corey who team up. And I'm like, I did not expect to love those two as much as I did.
Yeah,
same.
I mean, the most unexpected duo pairing. It was just like, let's get back to them. Not that Owen and Barley's wasn't, or Ian and Barley's wasn't important too, but it's like, I like this over here.
Like every time they have to cut away from Ian and Barley and go to Laurel and Corey, I'm like, you guys are so great. Even though the scene in the pawn shop, which on second thought, it's like, okay, this pawn shop scene really doesn't add anything to the movie, but it's hilarious. And I love it. So yes, keep that in there, please. Thank you. But so the story is, it's Ian's 16th birthday. They're making a big deal out of it, and he's kind of shy, kind of cautious about things, and his mother gives him gives both Ian and Barley a staff from their dad who passed away when they were very young, and like Ian doesn't remember their dad at all. Barley has 3 memories, 4. We'll get if you are counting.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. And they gives them this magic staff because magic really isn't done anymore, or it isn't a big deal because you don't need magic, you have technology. But their dad found a spell for them to bring him back for one day, so that their dad could see how his sons grew up. So they try the spell. You've probably seen it in the trailers. They only managed to summon about half of their dad. He's
from
a pair
the
of
belt
pants.
Down.
The belt down. It's their dad. And the way, it's played for humor, but the way they communicate between each other, that hey dad, you're with your sons. Again, there's humor, but then there's also that trademark Pixar heart behind it, and a little tear jerky. I'm not, a little bit like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the idea of this was, it came from the director. He lost his own father when he was very, very young. And that's what kind of inspired this plot. So,
yeah. And anyone who's if you've lost a parent or a grandparent or any family member, you still think it hits on all of those emotional beats, definitely. Even though the first thing Barley's like there's his top part. I definitely remember Dad having a top part. And they're flipping out. So.
But it's their dad because he's wearing those obnoxiously loud purple socks.
Yes. They established earlier he wore them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
then his dad, their dad dancing to the feet. It's like, I can kind of guess his movements, and it's just like, oh boy. Yep.
And it works. It works.
Yep.
Even though Barley's a bigger guy, and their dad was kind of tall and skinny. It's still like when you see Barley dancing behind the legs, and it's like, yep, you got it. You got it.
Yep, that's dad dance if there ever was one.
Oh, for sure. So in order for them to summon the rest of their dad, they have to go on a quest to find a Phoenix gem because they used up the Phoenix gem with the first botched spell, and so that's where they go to the Manticore's Tavern to get their quest. And then, then they're off. And then their mom follows them, and somehow, and then the Manticore.
Forgot to tell them about the curse.
Forgot to tell them about the curse. I need to get the curse. So they got to go get the sword that will stop the curse, and then catch up with the boys, while the boys are dodging their mom's boyfriend. Colt Bronco, who's a centaur, who's a police officer,
who drives a car,
which is actually, if you're into cars, it actually looks like a Ford Bronco.
Yep.
It's a police car, but it's a Ford Bronco. Which is still funny. And then along the way, Ian has to learn magic, which Barley, because he's played Quests of Yore, which is historically based RPG. So he's like, all the magic, like everything in this RPG is true. So he starts telling Ian how to cast spells, and you have to hold, you have to have your stance just right. You have to use your heart's fire. You have to do this. You have to. And Ian is just very annoyed by all this until he figures out that no, your brother is actually trying to help, even though he's kind of a goofball.
I'm sure you probably got a bigger kick out of like the spells and stuff because you actually play D&D, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, well, because he's talking about like, okay, so when they're at the drawbridge and he's casts the levitation spell across the thing, and Barley's like, you can't cast it that long. It's only got a whatever meter range. And I'm just like, I'm sure you like. I'm sure I'm sitting there thinking, Barley, whoever he plays Quests of Yore with. It never really talks about because you have to have a group usually, but I'm sure you guys have counted squares across the map trying to make sure that your spell is gonna make it to where it needs to go. So all those references and things, and then when they bring out there's a gelatinous cube, which play at D&D, it is the most. So yes, I play D&D and I've gotten immersed in it. I am not as, I've only been playing for maybe 5 years now, which is weird to think. Since Jared and I were dating and everything. But when I first learned that there was a thing called the gelatinous cube, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? Yes, it's like, what in the world is this? And no, it is a monster. It will kill you. It's just a big blob of giant green jello.
It just doesn't kill you as fast as it does in this movie. Instead, you get sucked into it, you can't escape, and eventually you just kind of it smothers you and slowly digests you. But it's a legit thing in D&D.
It is. It definitely is. And
it's been in there since the first edition.
Yeah, when Barley started going on about gelatinous cubes, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You guys got the rights for gelatinous cube. And yes, at the end of the credits of this movie, there is
Wizards of the Coast.
Thanks Wizards of the Coast for use of the Beholder and the gelatinous cube.
Yep.
And I'm like, You blankety blanks, you freaking did it. So if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, or if you know it only peripherally, that's the kind of humor D&D players have. I mean, it's this great, wonderful quest, and you're off to do epic things. It's going to be like Lord of the Rings. No, you end up fighting a cube of Jello. It's going to
be a deadly cube of Jello.
Pretty much, yes. Yep, and so props to Pixar for making that, because not everybody can make that scary. They made it scary, and yes, they encounter a gelatinous cube on their way to their on their quest. And Ian is just like, when Barley first tells him about the gelatinous cube, he's like, yeah, whatever. And then it shows up, and I'm like, of course it did. Of course it did.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of the funny parts when they're so close to the end, getting this crystal, and it's like, they have to run through this corridor that's full of booby traps, a la Indiana Jones, and the ceiling opens up, and all you just see is just green, and Barley's like, gelatinous cube.
Yeah. And Ian's like, well, wait, what's wrong with it? And like at that point, like the top part that they manufactured for their dad, so it looks like, so he's not just a pair of legs, but it's just like a coat and some sunglasses. It gets knocked off, and it gets absorbed in the gelatinous cube, and it dissolves. And they're like, okay, we need to leave now.
Exit stage right quickly.
Yes. So that was a fun action piece. And then right after that, they get in the flooding column of water, and they have to figure out how to open the top so they don't drown. So the way they figure that one out is kind of interesting, and I was like,
just they have their dad from the waist down, and Ian puts together a top half for him so it's less weird to look at, and they can't just leave him because he can't see where he's going and he has no way of communicating. So they hook him to, I'm assuming, the leash for the dragon.
Yeah.
Parents put their kids on a leash and walk around with him, but he's just flopping around like it's Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah, you're right. They had to have taken some cues from that one.
Yeah, Rachel, as soon as you said that, it just like, that's what I couldn't put my finger on. And as soon as you said it, I'm like, yep, that's Weekend at Bernie's.
And it gets, it's like him having a top half is almost more trouble than just having the pair of legs, like when they're being chased by the biker gang of pixies.
Oh yeah,
and he's falling out the window at one point. Looks like he's making rude gestures.
And so the biker pixies are getting mad, and they're like, no, so they're still running away from these little. I mean, they're pixies. They're little, but oh boy,
they've forgotten how to use their wings, so they run around on motorcycles like a motorcycle. But it takes like a dozen of them to run the motorcycle.
When I saw him pull into the gas station, I'm like, okay, either we're dealing with magic bikes or are we dealing with some fairies or pixies? And it's like,
I was thinking someone like it was
like
a visible thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, what's going on here? I'm confused.
I'm like, oh crap, those are pixies with an attitude.
Yeah.
Yes. Although the other funny part with the top half of Dad was when they get pulled over for speeding.
Oh, yes.
And Dad kind of wanders out of the back of the van, and the top part is flopping around because it's just a coat with some stuffing and a hat and some sunglasses. So
the bottom is just waving back and forth.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, to have you walk a straight line.
Yeah, and the two police officers that pulled him over are thinking like, okay, yeah, this guy, there's something wrong with him, and I'm like, yes, he doesn't have a top on. Yes. But they can't, but Ian and Barley are trying not to get caught and not to get delayed. So Ian uses a disguise spell And yeah, all that stuff about, there's the concentration, there's all the things. That's all in D&D as well, and probably some other RPG games. I've never played Magic, but maybe it's in there too. I don't know. But yeah, like Barley coaching Ian on how to cast these spells and making sure that you do it just right, otherwise it's not going to work. And so this particular one, you have to tell the truth because the disguise is a lie, too big of a lie anyway. So if you lie, the spell will fail. So they disguise themselves as Officer Bronco.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, that's a good one. And somehow, even with Ian only telling half truths and trying to work around the truth and the lies, it still kind of works
for the most part.
For the most part, up until he has to, the officers ask him about, oh yeah, Barley, he's kind of a screw up, right? And he's like, dude, how do I get out of this one? And so that leads to one of those famous Pixar heart to heart moments where it's like you've been laughing this whole time, and then all of a sudden, oh, poor Barley. His brother thinks he's a screw up, and so that leads to some good family time, I guess. But so it's like all these moments, they're great, they're fun. I mean, there's a lot of really good humor, and there's no real villain. There were a couple times I thought like Colt Bronco might turn out to be the surprise villain, and I don't know why or how that would work, but he didn't. There was no villain other than, I guess there was the curse.
Well, the giant dragon that made a school building, but there's not like someone mustache twirling behind the scenes. Oh, I'm going to stop these boys, ha ha ha, or whatever. It's the situation. They have one day, they have to finish casting the spell. Otherwise, Ian never met his dad. Barley has a few memories of his dad, and like there's only 3 that are really great. The last one, like this one just, kudos to Chris Pratt for his performance. I mean, we know him as Peter Quill, and we've known him in Parks and Recreation and a couple other things, but mostly he's been like a humorous actor, humorous characters. There have been some heartfelt things he's done a little bit, but just him talking about Barley talking about the last time when his dad was sick and they took him to the hospital to say goodbye, and he was too scared to go in, which as a little kid, that is totally understandable. I mean, I remember when I was little and like my grandpa was in the hospital several times. But I just did not want to go in there because it's scary. And but Barley says that's one of his greatest regrets is he did not get to say goodbye to his dad because he was scared, and so he just decided he was never going to be scared again. Which that comes out in his character is he's fearless. He does whatever he wants, whatever he believes is right, and that's how he lives his life, much to the chagrin of his younger brother.
Yes.
Yeah. Although when he was telling that memory where he's like, oh yeah, I've got a 4th memory of dad, he's like, it's one I don't like to talk about, and it's like, oh, and he was explaining, that I never got to actually say goodbye to dad when he was in the hospital, and it's like, oh, that's sad. Wait a minute, Peter Quill.
Yeah, exactly.
it did remind me of the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, and the TV tropes page, it does point that out.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute, is that the best you guys could come up with, Pixar? It's like, considering who you cast in this role, it's a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still sad, but at the same time, it's like if you're a Marvel fan and you see Guardians of the Galaxy, you're like, wait a minute, I've heard this before.
Just change out dad for mom and
parent in a hospital, sick and dying, too afraid to say goodbye because the whole situation is overwhelming and hard for them to understand. It's like, except Barley didn't get abducted by Ravagers afterwards. So.
Yeah, he
does play cassettes though.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in his van instead of a Walkman.
And I have to, and kudos to him for having that unicorn on the side.
I know. It's hilarious, but I think Guinevere's almost my favorite character in this movie.
Yep.
And she's a van.
Yep. And then with the wheel, and then when they're going across the wheel pops, and you get that thump, thump, thump. It's almost like galloping. I'm just like, oh, that's perfect. That's brilliant.
Yep. And the parking tickets are flying out of the side of the van
with the wings. Yeah, you don't need to see those.
I know when he's and it's like it's a sad moment, but also it's like I'm upset over this beat up van that this goofball kid put together. Although you have to kind of realize, he's barely he's an older teenager if he's not 20.
Right.
It doesn't really say how old Barley is, but it's just like it's like, oh my gosh, his poor van. You had to sacrifice it so they could continue on their quest, and just how willing he was to do that, even though it was, later. I'm sure later when he thought about it, he was very upset about it.
Yeah. Especially like he said, that's what he wanted to show his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, and I kind of like with the ending too, where Ian takes it upon himself with the new Guinevere.
Oh yeah,
doing a nice Guinevere on the side for him.
Yep, and the painting with both of them riding the noble steed, and like, oh, yeah, I want a copy of that to hang up on my wall. I love it.
Apparently, traditionally, unicorns are actually not graceful and majestic and magical. That they actually were very aggressive and untamable in the very early iterations of them in mythology. So when you see like the ones eating out the trash cans at the beginning and growling at each other, and then they come across them in the cave and they're like, like feral cats or something like that. Really, that's more accurate to unicorns.
Until they're tamed.
Yes.
Which is
kind of like dogs,
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because, nowadays unicorns are very popular, and it's, they're pretty flying rainbow sparkles, pretty princess unicorn things. And in this movie, they're wild animals digging in the trash.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say, nowadays we associate in most stories you associate unicorns like being pure and and all that. And
yeah, and they like, you think of the Peter S. Beagle Last Unicorn, or the movie based on such, and it's so pretty, and she's so innocent and all this stuff, and no, they're basically fantasy raccoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh. Yeah. I love the like I said, I love that they took some of the things that I expected to happen and subvert them, which I enjoyed, because that gets you out of the potential trope area. Because I as much as I love the portrayal and the relationship between Ian and Barley, Ian being the super awkward, timid, nerdy teenager is it was a bit too tropey for me. You know, it's like, oh, he suddenly, you know, he finds out that he's got the ability to do magic, but he's too scared and not sure about it. And it's like, I don't know what they could have done differently for him, but it you know, it's like, you know, I know it was, you know, showing the, you know, Barley being I'm never scared of anything. I want to go on an adventure versus, you know, the polar opposites of each other, but just the, you know, it's a trope that's becoming a bit too worn out for my taste.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But then I'm kind of glad too that they didn't kind of do the Frozen thing where Ian had powers when he was younger. He did something and got scared off and now has to.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, if you think about it, because at the beginning, when they first get the staff and Barley tries to cast a spell and he can't do it because he doesn't have magic, you know, and then they're, you know, devastated because they thought, oh, maybe we'll finally get to see our dad, and no, you don't. And then Ian, turns out he has magic, and it's like, if Barley had magic, he would just have, because you know, he's studied this, he's, you know, because playing this RPG is basically the equivalent in this world of being a history nerd or a history buff and knowing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you didn't live in those times, like, you're, as you know, Barley is as close to a historian as you're gonna get in this world, I guess, probably. And I'm like, what, you know, and we don't really get to explore too much of this world. I kind of hope that maybe Pixar will do some of those like short cartoons about, you know, and maybe show a little bit more of this setting, because there's a lot they could do. But I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, like, okay, if Quests of Yore is this historical thing and Barley's way into it, like, he should go be a historian for this world. And, you know, and everyone just kind of treats him like he's this idiot who, you know, this big dumb idiot who has nothing going for him. I'm like, dude, he like studies magic, and this is part of your heritage, of your history. Like, why is this a bad thing? Like, what is wrong with this society that they think that that's something to be shunned or be ashamed of or whatever? And so it's like, if Barley had if he had the ability to do magic, there would be no movie.
Well, yes.
To borrow a phrase from pitch meetings, it's like, so the movie can happen. So it's, but at the same time, Barley isn't upset when he finds out Ian has magic. He's like, oh, you have magic and I don't, you know, what's wrong with this picture? He's like excited for his brother. He wants to teach him. He wants to show him, like, share what he knows of magic. And even though Ian's just, you know, so timid and so scared of it, it's, you know, it kind of brings out that whole, you know, brother thing, which you brought up Frozen, Holly. It kind of has that, it's not exactly the same, but it's that whole, you know, you like, they're better together. They're like, one has this very obvious ability, but the other one has the ability to help the other work with their abilities.
Yep.
And so that part I kind of appreciated, and yeah, you're right, Rachel. The skinny, nerdy,
98-pound weakling.
Yeah, 90-pound weakling. And it's like, he doesn't. It's funny because Ian really doesn't get bullied so much. I mean, there's that one kid, that one guy in class who won't move his feet. And Ian's just kind of like, okay, whatever. But like, when he's asking that group of kids to come to his birthday party,
they say yes right away, and then
they do, and then Barley shows up, and and Ian's embarrassed, and he's like, no, never mind, I don't want anyone at my birthday party. And it's like, they weren't scoffing at him, they weren't treating him bad, they were just like, hey, yeah, party, that sounds great. And then Ian loses his nerve. So it's just kind of a, you know, it's a matter of he just doesn't have the self-confidence to go through with it, which, you know, I can kind of understand in some cases.
Yeah, in a way, Barley is kind of like his Jenkins, but not as strict.
Yeah. Well, and that's what kind of ties everything up at the end is, they have a falling out, but in the process, Ian realizes that he had this essentially kind of bucket list. He's like, things I'm going to do whenever I'm reunited with my dad, and he realizes that he's already checked off a lot of those things with Barley. Like, even though Barley is his older brother, he's also been in a way a surrogate father to him, to help him grow up without a father figure.
And I was really tearing up at the end when he's just like, no, I'm good. You go. You talk to Dad.
Yeah, when they do manage to complete the spell.
Yeah.
And the dragon is still coming after them because of this curse, and there's only time for one of them to go because the other's gonna have to go try and stop this dragon. And Ian was like, well, I don't have any memories of Dad to begin with, but you've got a bad one. Go fix that bad one. It's like, I'd rather you have 4 good memories of Dad instead of 3 good ones, 1 bad one. So, which that was another thing that they subverted, that because I just assumed that it's like, oh, they'll complete the spell and they'll have this nice reunion, and maybe it won't be as long as they thought because they won't get the full 24 hours, that maybe they'll only get a few minutes at most. And then it turns out that no, they do complete the spell, but only one of the boys gets the reunion. So
and we don't even really get to see it. We see it through Ian's eyes, and he's so far back, and he like looks at it through the hole in the rubble where he's stuck, and you see the dad from behind, and you see Barley, and they talk, they laugh, and they hug, and then that's it. So we don't even get to meet the dad.
No,
as an audience.
Right, and I had closed caption on, and there was no hidden dialogue in between as to what was said between Barley and Dad.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Barley tells him a little about when he finally comes back, and he's like, I'm proud of who my sons have grown up to be, and oh yeah, here's a hug. Yeah. And what his wizard name would be.
Yes. Yeah. and it's not a very good one.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So
this one I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel a few years down the road with maybe Uncle Barley taking niece or nephew on a quest.
Yeah, because it's like in the process of them going on their quest, even though at least if Ian's mind at first that it was completely pointless because it literally took them back to the high school. So they essentially where they started, but it wasn't so much that their quest was pointless because it still took them to where they needed to go. It's just the map or the directions that they were using to reference is so old. It's like the high school wouldn't have existed when the Phoenix Stone had originally been hidden in this fountain that we see at the very beginning Barley is trying to save because it's a historical piece of the town. But the thing, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey in this case. And the bonding that those two had, by the time they get back to the high school, Ian's has mastered a handful of these spells and can use them no problem. So it's like it wasn't pointless.
No.
And they've also reintroduced magic
Yep.
slowly
And I
back
love-
into the society. So yeah, a sequel down the road now that magic is being used by more people. It's like the fairies are flying instead of riding motorcycles. You know, the Manticore decided, you know, when they crashed the car, she had to use her wings.
Yeah. And she reopens her tavern, and it's, I mean, she there's not like the cutesy little mascot or the karaoke machine. She's telling stories about, you know, her epic adventures, and she's, you know, she's actually proud to talk about that stuff, and she's, you know, using her fire breath to light birthday candles.
Yeah. and I'm
the
wondering
curse,
too.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You can finish.
I was gonna
Chrissy.
say, like, the curse breaker sword is cutting the birthday cake.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm wondering too, with the sequel, we don't really know much about Ian and Barley's mom's backstory, because I was kind of wondering too that if mom didn't have something secret and magic that she was keeping hidden, because at first during the thing, when she and Manticore are doing their thing, I thought she was going to have to let loose some of her own magic too, and we get the surprise that never happened. So I don't know if they're going to save that for down the road.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like this setting there's just so much potential here, and and I mean, I love this movie. It's cute and charming and wonderful. I'm like, let's and it's a good introduction. I'm like, let's explore a little bit here, because there's plenty you could do down the road.
Yes.
And whether it's for the sequel or whether they do those short films or
Barley giving history lessons.
Yes.
Of the world.
Yes, I would love that.
I mean, Ian was talking about magic at school at his presentation, and he's got his own staff now that he made out of a splinter.
Yep.
You know, it's like that's awesome. That's great. But, you know, there was this whole thing about Barley. You know, his mom was complaining, you don't know what you want to do. This is the longest gap year. You know, what is this kid gonna do with his life? You know, look at your future. You're too consumed with the past. It's like, well, why doesn't he go be a history teacher or a, you know, some kind of historian or a keeper of artifacts? I don't know, something like that. I mean, there's a lot that Barley could do, and a lot we could see him do. And I'm interested enough that I want to see more from this world. It's like, come on, Pixar, let's do this. And just because this movie, you know, financially, I guess, is considered a flop, but it's not the movie's fault at all.
No,
yeah, it's like it didn't get enough time in the theaters before they closed.
Yeah,
so
it's like, don't
thanks to the pandemic. I think it would have, if this pandemic wouldn't have happened, I think it would have done really, really well.
I think so too. And
I think did it get #1 in the box office the one week it was
out?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, and
because
like,
I was
Rotten Tomatoes.
Go, but then I had something come up where I couldn't go.
Well, and the critics, I mean, it's got a really high score on Rotten Tomatoes for critics and audiences. So I'm kind of hoping, like, you know, when it comes down to it, that the studio isn't just looking at that money, is that they're like, well, you know, let's give this setting another shot and let them do something with it. Or, you know, like with my toddler, Alex has decided this is his new favorite movie. You know, for a couple months we had Toy Story, all the Toy Story stuff, and I'm like, no, you know, maybe we'll chip in about 2 or 3 dozen viewings of it on Disney Plus, and maybe that'll show us something.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll count for something.
Yeah. Well, I had a gift card for Amazon. I'm just like, and I noticed it was coming early. I'm just like, do I wait for it to come out on Plus, or do I plunk down the gift card? I'm like, gift card.
There you go.
Click. Here you go.
That's what my sister did. They bought it, or rented it, whatever they did on, and her kids have watched it over and over, and she even said, like, she felt bad that the movie didn't get a full theatrical run, so they went ahead and plunked down the $20 for it. So I was like, if I had $20 to spare, I'd do it.
Same.
But
the streaming numbers will help.
Yeah. So if you can't buy it, go watch it on Disney Plus. It is so worth it. And
and the rewatchability value is there, because I think this is viewing number 4 for me, and I was catching stuff I didn't see the first 3 times.
Well, there was one, like I saw there, Barley has I think he's got a cooler in the back of Guinevere, and it has a sticker on it that says Pizza Realm. So I'm wondering if that's a Pizza Planet reference.
Yes, yeah. That's a good segue into some of the Easter eggs and stuff.
Yeah. My one request later on, if they do decide to go ahead and do a sequel, please let there be a crazy uncle and let them have him be voiced by Jack Black. Because I could just see him playing Barley's uncle. You know, because
I could kind of see that.
Kind of had a little bit of that Jack Black type of a movement, and I'm just like, okay, come on, crazy uncle here that we don't talk about.
Yeah,
that hits it off well with Barley.
That's a possibility.
Option 2.
Yeah, no,
2 or 3 down the line.
Yeah, in this movie, they have like fantasyized D&D a lot of the stuff that are Easter eggs. So Pizza Planet, the Pizza Planet truck does appear when they're going through the toll booth, but it is renamed to Pizza Realm. So and Barley's got a Pizza World box in Guinevere. So there's the restaurant that Ian goes to before school, Burger Shire.
They're serving second breakfast.
Now serving second breakfast.
Yes. The Hobbit, yeah.
I love that little bit.
Come back for 11s.
Yes, really. Let's see some of the other Easter eggs. At Manticore's Tavern, there's a crap ton of Easter eggs, including the Pixar ball appears on a shield. The prize area includes the toy frogs from Toy Story 4. The claw machine game. The claw is the Infinity Gauntlet.
I missed that.
I know now I have to go. Now I have to watch it again.
I totally caught that when I watched it. I'm like, that looks like the Infinity Gauntlet. And then there's a like black and red version design of the Infinity Gauntlet on a patch on Barley's vest, and then there's also a sticker inside Guinevere. The cook at the tavern is Remy, the rat from Ratatouille.
I gotta go back and watch. I missed that completely.
Yeah. There's some members of the staff at the tavern that are wearing hats similar to what Mickey wears in The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, I saw the when the little froggy guy comes out and he's late for work and Corey's chewing him out. I'm like, that looks like a Sorcerer's Apprentice outfit.
Yeah.
Or the hat at least.
Yeah. And then one of the spells in the book that they were using, at one point there's an image of a like wizard or something, and it looks an awful lot like the wizard from that sequence in Fantasia. There is
Yenzed or whatever.
Yensid, yeah.
Yensid,
Disney spelled backwards.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little extra piece of trivia there. When they at one point towards the end, when they are driving, there's some greenery and foliage that resembles Arlo from The Good Dinosaur.
Oh.
Yeah. They at the beginning when they get with the voiceover about how there was magic back when magic was a thing. And there's a wizard I can't remember what he did, but he did something, and he's being like surrounded by a bunch of people that are like, yay, thank you, you're wonderful, Mr. Magic Wizard person. In that crowd, there are night howler flowers from Zootopia, a elven version of Bonnie from Toy Story 3, and the rock trolls from Frozen. There is a sign in Guinevere that says "You shall not pass."
Yes, Gandalf.
Yeah. At the gas station, there are either advertisements or items at the convenience store, including Cloak and Cola, Mountain Doom, and Saturade. There's a sign for Magic Beans for sale. There is an ad for Triple Dent Gum, which appears in Toy Story and Inside Out. And there is a cup of pens with the Poultry Palace chicken logo. Let's see here. Where's another? There's one that's, if you're like really into Norse mythology, when the mom she buys milk from Audhumal Dairies, Audhumala being the name of the primeval cow. Apparently it's a figure from Norse mythology. Apparently a deep dive. When they go through the toll booth, obviously trolls, it's a troll taking tolls. That
had me giggling.
Yeah. But apparently the sign on the toll booth says you can pay the troll in either cash or a riddle.
Oh, I love it.
There's a heck of a lot more, but I don't want to be giving away all of them. But
so keep an eye out for them. But I'd read about the Triple Dent Gum, so I was like, okay, I gotta look for that. So I found that one, and the troll booth. But so overall, it's a fun movie. Lots of Easter eggs. It's it's a Pixar movie. They do that a lot. Well, Disney kind of does that a lot anyway.
Oh yeah.
But they're fun to find.
Yeah. But the fact, there's like the Pixar Easter eggs that people know to look for, but now, there's like, they're throwing in like characters from other non-Pixar movies. There's references to Marvel in there, which, there's obviously, it probably, one, it's a Disney, Disney owns Marvel, but the fact that you've also got two extremely popular Marvel actors.
Yes, voicing the characters.
As, do your voices, so.
It's like, I would actually, I'm like, now did they set out to specifically cast those two, or was it just a happy
accident? Generally with the way this, this type of thing is done, is the voice recording is done first.
Well, I mean, like how did they decide, like, oh, we need two guys from Marvel to do this, or were they just like,
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. That's what I'm curious about. Is like, did they do that on purpose, or did they just kind of decide, or did Chris Pratt and Tom Holland audition? They're like, hey, what a coincidence! You guys are both Marvel guys, and we cast you in this movie.
Hey, you two didn't get that much screen time together in a Marvel movie? Here you go, Pixar.
Pixar's got you covered, guys.
Well, it's like they did go into space. Yeah, but then they both got dusted, so
this is what they were doing while they were dusted.
Yes.
There we go.
They were going on an epic quest.
That Phoenix gem does kind of look like the Soul Stone.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. See what you did there.
So there might be a grumpy billionaire floating around somewhere in that universe, man.
Well, and like Barley's vest has got all sorts of nods to other things. Like there's a pin that looks like a red skull. So Like if you want them to be pointed out for you without having to go and look, you can go to the trivia section on IMDb. It gives you like most of them or a good chunk of them. Otherwise, you could just go and rewatch the movie and watch it frame by frame by frame, and be like, "Wait, what's there?"
Yeah.
What is that?
If you don't have a toddler who will, that will actually let you do that. But if you do, you just kind of have to be watching for that stuff.
Yep.
But.
So yeah, this was a fun one. Like I said, not my top favorite, but I think definitely it's probably top of that second tier. Like you were saying, Chrissy.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, there may be people who dispute this, but I don't think Pixar has a bad movie per se.
No.
There are some that are maybe not as good, but
Right.
But I mean, with the high quality that Pixar puts out, it's kind of like they're not as good movies are probably top tier of some studios who just don't make that many good movies anyway.
True. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anytime, my point is, anytime you're going to watch a Pixar movie, you're in for a good time, and it really doesn't matter which one you guys. And like you said, there might be some that are more of your favorites than others, but. No, this one was a good time. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that they decided to put it out for people to see during, while we're all stuck in the house and so it wasn't in the plan, but we still managed to have a good time with it anyway. So, thanks Disney Plus for
thank you.
coming through for us on that one. Because we still need things to look forward to.
Yes.
This was definitely worth it.
Yep.
So, anyone else have anything they want to add in, or? Well,
I'm just amazed at how often in like the last week or so that D&D has kind of been keeps popping up in my life. If I'm not playing D&D by the time this whole quarantine thing is over, then
hey, I'll tell you this. Jared is putting together a virtual D&D game for library patrons, but the way they have to set it up, pretty much anyone could join in wherever they are. So
you may have to send me the details once it gets figured out.
Yeah. If you really want them, I will forward them to you.
Sure. I think earlier today Chauncey was in a meeting with somebody and they were saying something about Chauncey was like, "Well, I haven't played D&D yet," and I'm like we're gonna turn into those people by the time this is over.
You just might. So. If you want to know.
We're gonna be in pretty good company. I mean,
if we get enough
group,
yeah. If they get enough people, I've volunteered to run a group. So they got to see how much interest there is. So.
Well, you got two all the way over here, apparently.
Apparently so. So I'll look into it and make sure.
I've watched on Twitch, there's been some that I've watched, and that looks fun.
It is fun. Lately I've been running games more than I've actually been playing, but it is a good time as long as you have a good group, and as long as your DM is willing to let you just have fun with it. You just have fun with it, and it's a good time. And it's a lot of fun, especially if you have a creative brain that likes to come up with stories, but maybe you're not so good at writing them down. Well, this is a place where D&D is a place where you can kind of try out some of that stuff, or any kind of RPG. Because I've played a few, but D&D is the one I'm most comfortable actually DMing.
And I never done like that, but I've done rope back. I'm gonna date myself. Back when AIM was a thing, I was in a couple of Lord of the Rings. I had my own character, a Lord of the Rings kind of group that I remember enjoying. Not quite the same, but similar.
I can remember the old Yahoo groups.
Oh yes, Yahoo too.
with the RPGs. Yeah, I was a part of a couple of those.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. If anyone wants to talk more D&D, or tell us what their thoughts are on Onward, or both, we're not picky. You can send us feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, and there you can find links to our social media stuff. We're posting stuff on Facebook, on Instagram. We have our YouTube channel, which you can listen to the podcasts. You can also listen to our podcasts through Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify. Anywhere you find podcasts, we are there. So check us out. And we also have ways to support the podcast if you feel so inclined. I know it's probably kind of tight for a lot of people right now. But if you wish to, we have our Patreon. We have an Amazon store. If you're making a last minute order of toilet paper and you go through Amazon, you can click on our website and go to Amazon from there. Yep. And we also have our merchandise shop, and we have a Ko-fi account. So all that is linked there. And thank you for sticking with us through everything that's going on. I hope we're helping bring a little cheer into your lives while we're all stuck at home for a while. But so anyway, stay safe out there, everybody, and thank you all for your support and for being with us.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Gelatinous cube!
Listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefiveishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/fiveishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/fiveishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You could also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/fiveishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.